Hey guys, what's up? It's JR Cuber, and in this video we have a very massive unboxing. This package comes all the way from Belgium, and there is a ton of stuff in here. This is a bunch of stuff that this guy Tom was selling on Puzzle Trader, and there was a lot of stuff that I was really interested in, so I decided to go ahead and just go all out, get a whole bunch of stuff, and I think it's going to make for a really cool video. Now, just so you guys know, this is the size of the package we are dealing with here, so I'm not going to be able to really get it on my table, so I'm just going to basically unbox this here in front of me, and then I will kind of just pull stuff out and then show it on the table. So let's just go ahead and get into this. I don't know how exactly this is going to open. I guess we'll just kind of cut at the corners and just see what happens. Okay. Oh man, there is so much stuff in here. So I don't know if I can tilt this up exactly for you guys to be able to see, but there's just a little taste of everything in here. So let's just go one by one. I'm gonna go rapid fire because there's so much to get through. If you want to see an individual video about any of these puzzles, which I might do for some of the bigger ones, more important ones, let me know. All right, let's go. Okay, first up we have a Smaz MF8 Dino Cylinder. So this is a puzzle that I've wanted for a long time, ever since I saw the original Dino Cylinder on Red KB's channel, and that one had like the outline stickers, but this one is like a fully mass-produced version with stickers. It moves really well. It's just a barreled Dino cube basically, which is a very simple like corners only type of mod, but when you barrel it, you expose these edges here. It's actually kind of similar to a Ready cube. So if you compare it to the Ready barrel, you see those same edge shapes there, and you kind of also see this shape right here. So this piece right here is actually the same as this one. It's just that this one's fully exposed. So it's actually a kind of a similar puzzle. But yeah, that's the Dino Cylinder. Okay, next up we have a glow-in-the-dark rainbow cube. I actually don't have a rainbow cube, and this one in particular is special because it's a bit harder to find. It's a bit more rare. So the rainbow cube is actually the core of a Dino cube. It's basically the same puzzle, but it just looks really different. And this actually used to be an event for a short time in the WCA, long time ago. But now it's just a cool collector's item that you don't see in like a whole lot of collections. So this is pretty catchy. It doesn't turn super great, but it's still just a very cool piece to have in the collection. And I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but it is kind of has this translucent green type of color. Maybe if I show a little bit of the inside. And so theoretically it should glow in the dark. I don't know if it will or not, but I guess I'll just have to turn the lights off to find out. But anyways, that is the glow in the dark rainbow cube. Okay, next up we have this Shanghai 2x2 that's kind of like a ball in a cube type of puzzle. We're missing one piece. I'm sure it's somewhere in there, just kind of buried. I have one of these that is one of the flat-faced ones, and these pieces are like notorious for coming off. But I also wanted to get this one to complete that collection. There is one more variant that has extensions on the top and bottom that basically make it like a 2x2x4, but the side faces can also turn, so it's like a 2x2 cross cube. But this is basically the same thing as a 2x2 cross cube. You can kind of see how that works because these faces are just independent of the actual 2x2 pieces. But yeah, this is another one that's pretty hard to find. You don't see this one that often. It very rarely pops up, so I figured I'd get a hold of one. Looks like he also threw in just some mini 3x3s, just probably because I got so much stuff. So just some pretty standard mini 3x3s. They've got a Japanese color scheme. I don't know exactly what brand they are. They're probably just some knockoff thing. This one feels like a different branded one, and it has a different color scheme. Okay, next up we have a Siamese 2x2. This looks handmade, and I actually have a handmade Siamese 2x2, but this one's much better made, and it's actually not broken. So that one, kind of half of the connection is broken, so it doesn't really work that well. But this actually works, seems like it works much better. And this is made out of some pretty old 2x2s as well. Like some kind of like Lanlan 2x2 maybe, or something like that. So it doesn't turn super great, but still pretty cool. Okay, next up we have a Mozi Skew mod. I'm not sure what this is called, but yeah, this is just one of those like cheap Mozi shape mods that they don't actually really sell many of these anymore. And Tom had a whole bunch of them, so I kind of got a lot of them. So we'll see more of these, but this is just a Skoob shape mod basically, and it does not turn very well, but it looks cool. Okay, next up, another Skoob shape mod. This one looks like it's much better made though. I think this is from Lanlan, and this one actually has a clicking mechanism. And this one has very, very large pieces, and it also shapeshifts. It's kind of pillowed. This is another one of those puzzles where, like, I remember when it came out, but I never got it. That's going to be kind of a recurring theme in this video. There's a lot of puzzles in here that I remember seeing them in stock at stores and thinking I will eventually get it. And then they kind of went out of stock, became discontinued, and now they're harder to find. So I'm just getting a lot of them now. But this one's pretty cool. I really like this, this old sound that these Skoob mods make, and just old Skoobs. It's really loud, but I kind of like it. Okay, next up we have another vintage puzzle. This is an original 3x3 ball. So I do have another 3x3 ball that's pretty old, but that one's like a different size. It's got different stickers, and this one was very clearly different from that one. So I don't know when those two puzzles came out, how they're related to each other, which one, if either of them were actually made by Rubiks or not, but I figured I might as well get both of them, right? Whoa, yeah, this one is very, very springy. It almost feels like it has a click just because of how springy it is, or how much spring noise there is. Like the spring is catching so much that it's almost providing a bit of a click. I don't know, for some reason I kind of like that sound. I'm sure to most people it's just very, very annoying, but the turning on this isn't actually terrible. Like, it's very turnable. Definitely not great, but like, surprisingly kind of not that bad for an 80s cube, which I have a fair amount of at this point. So yeah, that's pretty cool. A much larger, and I don't know if it's older or where exactly this fits in, but an old 3x3 ball of some kind. Oh yeah, and the color scheme is super weird. It's not Japanese, it's just kind of whatever, I don't know. Okay, next up we have another one of those Mozi Skew mods. Basically, it just turns like this. It doesn't shapeshift, but it is also a Skoob. So I think the way to look at this as a Skoob is these are the centers. So all of these pieces that look like corners are the centers, and then these are the corners here. So it kind of just is flipped. So Skoob shape mods always kind of mess with my brain. So all of these are probably actually going to be pretty difficult to solve, but I definitely need more octahedrons in my collection. I really don't have all that many. And this one's a very simple but cool looking one. Okay, this is another extra I think that he threw in. I definitely didn't order this, but this is just a Pyromorphix. Looks like a Mozi one because it's very, very low quality. Okay, here's an interesting one. This is the Volcano Puzzle. I used to have a legit Mefferts one. This is not a legit Mefferts one, but I still wanted to get it just because I kind of miss having one in the collection. I don't know why I ever sold my original Mefferts Volcano, because that's a pretty rare puzzle, but this is a very, very cool type of puzzle. It's basically a Pyraminx cross cube. So you get all of the normal Pyraminx type moves mixed with face turns. And from what I can remember of the Mefferts one, this one doesn't seem to move quite as nicely, but still not too bad for, I think it's like a Z puzzle, so just like a pretty cheap knockoff. But yeah, I just wanted to get another Volcano in the collection because they look really cool and I miss having it around. Okay, this is a pretty cool one. This is a 3x3 shape mod from Diansheng. This is called the Blade Cube. I always thought this looked super cool, like in puzzle collection videos and just in solving videos in general, and I always wanted one, but these are really cool. This one actually turns pretty well, and it's very, very sharp, which I guess is what you should expect from a puzzle called a blade puzzle. But this one is just, it's really cool. I actually really like how well it moves. And it shape shifts in a lot of bizarre ways. So yeah, definitely a very cool 3x3 shape mod, and one that's kind of been a classic in a lot of collections that I just never got. So now I finally have it. Okay, this is a mini 3x3 gear cube in the shape of an egg with a little keychain on it. So I guess this should solve the same as a normal gear cube, but it's going to be kind of tricky to figure out how that works with just going off shape and not color. The movement's not terrible. It's not great either, but because you kind of have to pinch the layers more, I feel like I'm going to cause a gear to skip. I feel like that would be more of a possibility. But other than that, definitely pretty cool. It looks really cool. So yeah, that's the little mini gear cube. Okay, next up, this is a very interesting one. This is the 2x2 Megaminx, which was always a very, very expensive puzzle, which is why I never got it. These were always like in the $50 to $60 range, which when I was collecting a few years ago pretty heavily, that was really expensive for me. So I never actually got one, but I think if I align this properly, I should be able to show you kind of how this works. So it does turn, of course, as a normal Megaminx, which this side is just not wanting to move at all. But then if I can get something to align here, maybe something like that, you can also do a turn through the entire middle. Whoa, that is really cool. And just do all kinds of like crazy shape shifting, probably, I think, if it'll ever turn. Yeah, something like that, which is just wild. So all the centers are split in half. So depending on how you have the layers lined up, you can do some kind of like middle slice turn. So probably going to be a very, very complicated solve. I don't know if it's something I'll ever attempt. And it's also much, much bigger than a normal Megaminx. This is a pretty massive puzzle. But yeah, definitely just a very cool one to have in the collection, and one that I kind of always wanted to have. Okay, next up we have a 3x3 egg. Yeah, so this is just another kind of interesting shape mod that's going to be solved entirely based off of shape, and it looks like just from the symmetry of the puzzle there's probably going to be a decent amount of identical pieces. I am missing a center cap. I'm sure it's at the bottom of the box somewhere, but yeah, this actually moves decently well, and I think it's just another cool 3x3 shape mod to throw in the collection. Gotta love the 3x3 shape mods. Honestly, should just count them up someday because I've got so many of them. Speaking of 3x3 shape mods, here's another one. This is the Shield Cube, and this is basically an extended out hexagonal prism. This is another one of those classic Diansheng mods that I always seem to see in like every collection video from back in the day, but I never had one. So this also moves really well. I'm pretty surprised at how well it moves. But this is super cool, again, because the pieces have been changed so much, you're going to get some pretty wild shape shifting, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, I think in here is a square one of some kind. I think this is yeah, this is a vintage square one, and this one has the Super Cubics logo, so I do have a vintage square one with the square one logo, so I don't know what's different about this one in particular, but it seems like it's almost the same thing. It feels like it has a similar mechanism, although this one actually moves quite a bit nicer, at least in terms of consistency. Like it's consistently slow. Like the other one, the slice moves okay, but then the top and bottom are just really bad. The slice is like slow and the top and bottom are slow, so it's all slow, which I actually kind of like more. The stickers are also pretty rough on this one, but you know, just another old square one to add to the collection, and yeah, it should fit in well with the rest of the vintage cubes that all kind of look beat up a bit. Okay, next up we've got a 2x2. So it looks like this is an original plastic Dian 2x2. It's not a 50mm, but it is a, I think it was a 46mm was the smaller size. So I don't have any Dian 2x2s that are 46mm. So this one is 46mm and original plastic, which is an added bonus. So yeah, I mean, it feels original plastic to me. It definitely feels kind of dry, but the original plastic Dians do have a pretty distinct feel. So the dead giveaway that a Dian 2x2 is original plastic is the black screws in the middle. So that is it's an original plastic 46mm Dian 2x2. Okay, next up, it looks like we have, oh, another 3x3 shape mod. So it looks like this is just a mass-produced house cube, but it's been re-stickered with those original house cube stickers. So yeah, I think these definitely look a whole lot better than just like normal stickers that they have on there. So I basically just got this because it looks really nice, and it was already all stickered, so I figured, why not? So yeah, this looks really nice. Okay, next up we have looks like a 7x7. Oh yeah, this is a YJ 7x7. So this is basically just a straight V-Cube knockoff, I'm quite sure, which, Yeah, I think so. Because I remember this 7x7 being around when I was starting out, and just kind of always wanted one. And I like pillowed 7x7s too. You don't see them that often. It's really just these old 7x7s in the V-Cube 7. But of course, this is going to be very susceptible to pops. It's quite loose. It's definitely not a great design, but it was the first 7x7 design, so you got to give it some credit, even though this obviously is just a knockoff. But I kind of just like the way it looks, honestly, and it's just kind of nostalgic for me. Oh boy, here's another nostalgic one. I don't think I actually ordered this, but I think he may have just included it. I think this might be a Meffert's 4x4, because I don't remember these tiles being on any other type of cube except maybe the QJ cubes, but that's the only thing I can think of. But this is super retro. It's got the super thick tiles. It's got that original ball core mechanism. Yeah, I think that might be QJ. So this actually, I really like the way these tiles feel, even though they're like super unnecessary and just kind of crazy. Again, a very nostalgic cube for me, because this is the type of cube that people would buy when I started cubing. This is like a good 4x4, you know, with something like this. So it's just nice to have one in the collection. Okay, here's one that I am very, very excited about, and I'm so glad to finally have one of these. I've been looking for one of these for a long time, and was one of the main cubes that I was looking forward to getting with this package. And that is, of course, an original 80s Rubiks Professors cube, the original 5x5. I have the original 3x3, 2x2. I have 2 original Rubik's Revenges, and now we finally have an original Rubiks Professors cube with the peeling orange stickers, as is quite common, but here we go. So here's how it moves. Funnily enough, this actually turns better than some modern Rubik's 5x5s that I felt. This actually feels like it won't completely break in my hands, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, this is what the very first 5x5 mass-produced was like. Again, Japanese color scheme. I think it actually suits this cube rather well. I kind of like it, honestly. But yeah, this is pretty awesome. This is feels very legit, feels just really cool to have. And it kind of just completes the collection in a way of those original 80s puzzles. Okay, here is one that I'm not sure exactly why I got, because I kind of told myself many years ago that I would never buy this puzzle, but this is a super square one. Notoriously one of the most infuriating, annoying puzzles to ever exist, and now I finally have one. For no reason other than that I'm excessive and I need to have everything. But with that said, let's go ahead and open it up and see kind of how it actually is. This is a QJ one, completely unopened, still in the packaging. So we'll just see what it's like. Okay, so here we go. So what made this notoriously bad, wow, the turning's actually pretty good. Whoa, that actually feels really nice. I like the way that moves. But what made this notoriously bad is that the slice, which can go in different directions, sometimes would get out of alignment with this, making the slice turn very, very hard. I think the trick to this is just kind of to grip the whole thing and just rotate it, but that's definitely not the easiest solution, and it's still kind of tricky. But yeah, that's, I think, basically the idea. And so it's got 4 layers, so it's going to be a lot more complicated to solve. No idea how to go about it, but definitely an interesting puzzle nonetheless. I know there's like all kinds of variants of this too. Who knows, maybe I'll eventually get those at some point, but like there's 2-layer ones, there's ones that are different shapes like stars, all kinds of stuff. But I figured I should just start out with this one. Okay, next up we've got an OG sticker mod, the Reuben King sticker mod, which I used to have a 3x3 and a 5x5 with this color scheme on it, but not anymore. Actually, a lot of my original 3x3s that I don't have anymore, I exchanged all the stickers on. My very first 3x3 actually made like an arrow cube, and then I got rid of it. I don't know why I did that, because it'd be great if I still had my original 3x3, the first cube I ever bought, but who knows, it's long gone. But yeah, it looks like this is probably custom stickered from CubeSmith stickers, which is another big throwback, because CubeSmith hasn't been around for quite a while. But yeah, this is actually very, very vibrant and cool, but yeah, just one of those like original sticker mods that I just felt like I needed to have in my collection, because I'm seriously lacking some of those like classic sticker mods, and there's a couple couple more in here. So here we go with another classic sticker mod, the Maze Cube, which is currently scrambled. But yeah, I used to have one of these that I stickered myself with the Cubesmith variant of the Maze Cube stickers, and this is not quite the same thing. That was like a black cube that had black stickers with a white or with a yellow maze, but this is a white cube that has like red stickers with a yellow maze. But this actually looks pretty cool. I think this is one of those like dollar store type cubes, or actually this looks like a Shanghai, so maybe not. But regardless, it should be a fun solve. This is another very like super difficult sticker mod. I also have a Sudoku cube, and that's another very challenging one. But yeah, this one is really tricky. So it should be a fun time trying to solve this one. Next up, you guessed it, another 3x3 shape mod. This is the Case Cube, which is one that I almost got in Puzzle Crate, but I missed it by like a month. This puzzle came like in the crate the month before I signed up, so I never ended up getting it. And this is another just nostalgic classic that everybody always seemed to have in their collection. And I remember when I first started cubing, I had no idea how this worked. I thought it was like a fully functional type thing where these little edges pieces can turn, and it was like some kind of modified cuboid or just something like that. But nope, it's just a 3x3 with some extensions that are made to look like multiple pieces, but it's really just an extension on one piece. And this also moves really well. I'm pretty sure this is from Diansheng as well. So yeah, this is really cool. It definitely shape mods or shape shifts in some cool ways as well, just to do a little bit of turning there. So yeah, very cool. Okay, next up we have something in a Shanghai 5x5 box. Ah, yes. How about that? Something that I still don't have in my collection. After all of these years, I still don't have an original helicopter cube, even though I have almost every variant of the curvy copter, a bunch of edge turning puzzles, but not the original classic edge turner, the helicopter cube, which is what the curvy copter was based off of. Almost every edge turning puzzle you see is kind of originated from this guy. So definitely great to have one of these. This one didn't have any like Olsing, no curves. It was very simple. And this one doesn't turn like a 2x2, even though it has 2x2 cuts. It's just an edge turner. And this one also does jumble, even though it doesn't seem like it would be able to, but it does. So there you go. So this is actually a very similar solve to the curvy copter, because those are basically the same puzzles, just that the curvy copter exposes this little internal center edge right here, which is not visible on the helicopter cube. But very glad to finally have one of these. I almost got one from the cubicle, but they ended up sending one that was like a truncated corner version, so not quite the same thing. But here we have just a standard helicopter cube, another one I'm very glad to have in the collection. Okay, up next, another one that he threw in as a bonus. This is a Fisher cube, kind of a primary plastic color. I'm not sure what brand this is. If I had to guess, I'd say YJ, but I already have a couple Fisher cubes, so this one will just go in next to those. I don't have any that are this color though. Yeah, just your pretty run-of-the-mill standard Fisher cube. Okay, this is another very special one. This is the Cube Twist Bandage 3x3, and what's special about this one is that it actually comes from a set, which is a bunch of different tiles that you can put on this base 3x3, which you can get to by taking all of these tiles off, which they basically just pop off like that, and you can kind of just make whatever type of bandage cube that you want. The way it's set up right now is just your standard bandage cube layout, but you can make basically whatever kind of bandage cube you want with the parts in there. So there's probably some more that aren't quite in here, but this is most of the parts, which I'm probably going to put it in a box that doesn't have a hole so they can't fall out. But you can kind of see you get a whole bunch of spare parts in here of just different sizes and shapes. So let's say you could get one that completely blocks off this whole section of the cube. So for example, I could take all of these off, and if you take all of them off on all of the sides, it just becomes a normal 3x3, so the cube itself isn't bandaged at all. But then I could take this whole section and pop it on, and now all of these pieces here are all bandaged together just from doing that. So you can reduce the movement, increase the movement, whatever you want to do with all of these pieces, so it'd be super fun to just mess around and just try new things. I think for the most part though, I will be keeping it just in this standard bandaged cube layout, because I don't actually have a bandaged cube in my collection. So I think I'll basically just be leaving it like this, but this is a just super cool kit basically. Okay, next up we have this metal 3x3, which is actually made out of metal. This is probably one of the heaviest cubes I have in my entire collection. This is incredibly heavy, and it actually moves really, really well. It's super cold too, which is weird because this package has been sitting in my room for like a day now, so it should have completely warmed up. But yeah, this is really cool. So if we open it up, it's just a standard 3x3 mechanism, but the pieces are just metallic. But yeah, the turns just glide along like actually pretty well. Like it actually moves like not too terribly bad, which I'm very surprised about. So yeah, metallic 3x3, very cool. All right, next up, another bonus cube. Man, he is just throwing in a bunch of bonus cubes, so huge shout out to Tom for that. But this is just like one of those dollar store type picture cubes. So yeah, I don't have that many picture cubes in my collection actually, so interesting. Oh boy, here's one that I have wanted for a very long time. This is another very hard to find puzzle, an original Rubiks Domino, a 3x3x2, and the reason it gets that name is because this is what the original puzzle was. It was actually, it looked like domino pieces, which is super cool. So this is a very old puzzle. You can tell some of the pieces are kind of miscolored. It looks like it's kind of on the verge of falling apart. It looks like this is based off the Lanlan mechanism, or rather the Lanlan mechanism is based off of this. But yeah, so this is one I'm definitely gonna have to be very gentle with, but I really like the way this looked the first time I saw it. It really appealed to me just because it almost kind of looked like two separate puzzles stacked on top of each other, which is really cool. But this actually moves quite well too, and just looks so cool, so vintage. Yeah, this is one I might probably throw up in like B-roll shots if I ever get a chance to do that, just because it looks so cool. And you almost can't even tell, is that like a puzzle or are those just dominoes stacked up? It's cool. I really like how this looks. I'm so glad to finally have one of these. In here we've also got this kind of like retro UFO puzzle. I've actually never seen one of these before, and I don't have any UFO puzzles, but I do want to get some of the Rubiks UFOs. So I'm not sure much about the origin of this puzzle, but it looked cool, and figured I'd try it out, see what I thought. So it looks like what you do is you just turn it along this side, and then turn these pieces, and then turn it back, and you do that. So it won't be a very hard solve, but still very cool. I really like the way it moves. That click is super satisfying. It also looks like it doesn't really matter how this top side relates to the bottom side. Like it can basically be in any position and still be considered solved. And it doesn't turn like in this direction at all. I know the Rubiks UFO does that, but not this one. So pretty cool. Definitely very interesting. Okay, next up, I think this is a half truncated cube. So this one is one that I think Tom made by hand. And a half truncated cube is another one of those just classic, super classic 3x3 shape mods that again I never made and don't have. So when I saw this, I knew I had to get it. So yeah, it looks like this is probably just made from a Rubiks 3x3, which is exactly what I would have done back in the day too. And yeah, this is basically all it is. It's just a half of the corners have been kind of just cut off, and you kind of just get this cool shape. Yeah, the build quality is very nice. The stickers are nice. I don't know if those are hand cut or not. I think they might be. Yeah, it looks like they are. There is going to be one more puzzle in here that I'm saving for last, which is like a very big modification that he made, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. But for this half truncated cube, it's really cool, and I'm glad to finally have one. Okay, next up, another one that I am so happy to finally have in the collection. This is the Crazy 4x4 2, which is another one that's pretty hard to find. This one finally completes the collection. I have the Crazy 4x4 1, which just is the centers, the Crazy 4x4 2 now, which is the edges, and then the Crazy 4x4 3, which is a circle that covers the entire face, including the corners. But this one in particular, when you move, you can see the middle stays in place and all the outer pieces kind of move around it. So it's not fully solved right now, but yeah, the way you get these middles to turn is by turning the second layer. So you can kind of do something like that, which is pretty cool. So this is based on a ball core design. You can't really do it any other way, where the centers are kind of locked to the ball core and then everything else moves around it. Definitely a pretty hard find. Glad to finally have it. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and just scramble it and start from scratch on the solve. I think that's going to be the way to go. But yeah, crazy 4x4 2. This is an MF8 puzzle. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, and now the best for last. This is a custom puzzle made by Tom. From the pictures he sent, it looked like it was really high quality, so I'm super excited to check it out. This is a 7x7x5. A very awesome cuboid, and wow, does that look good. That looks really, really good. So it looks like this is based on the original tripoom design that he did before he started extending, but I really like the Olzing on this, and this is a cuboid that I knew I had to get eventually, one that was just essential for the collection, but I'm so happy to finally have one, and this looks like it's just top-notch build quality. So let's go ahead and just turn it a bit. Wow, it moves really nice too. Yeah, that is awesome. So this is built from a Shanghai 7x7, obviously, and it moves great. Like, it moves super good, like super good. Yeah, I can't wait to solve this. This is going to be so much fun. Man, I don't really have many of these high order cuboids in my collection, the custom made ones, and I'm glad to finally have this one, because this is just a classic. Anybody that collects cuboids seems to have one of these, so I'm glad to finally have one. So here's how it shapeshifts. It's going to look pretty crazy once it's all scrambled. I don't want to scramble it right now, but yeah, it looks awesome. And just a massive thanks to Tom for allowing me to buy all these puzzles and getting them over in such a fast time. It only took a couple of weeks to get here, which I think, considering the circumstances, is pretty fast. Okay, this is already a ridiculously long video, but I do have one more puzzle to show. I said this is going to be the last, and then I just remembered there was one more puzzle I was going to show. So let's go ahead and do that now. So this is the box for it. This is a puzzle that was built originally by my friend Nathan, and then he sold it to my other friend Kyler, and then he wanted to sell some of his puzzles, and this was one that caught my eye as one that I wanted to get. So I figured I'd just go ahead and do it all in the same video. So let's just go ahead and check it out. Okay, so here it is. This is once again another 3x3 shape mod, and what Nathan called this is an axis barrel, and that's basically what it is. It's pretty much a barrel of this puzzle, which is the hexagonal prism. So that's kind of what you do. You make a hexagonal prism and then you barrel it, and you get basically this shape. So this looks super awesome. I remember when Nathan built this in his 30-day 30 build series. But yeah, this also has got a good amount of weight to it, which is nice because it's a pretty small puzzle. But let's just go ahead and do some turning. Yeah, as always, turns really well. I'm pretty sure this is made from a cheese sail, as always. Nathan basically makes all of his 3x3 mods from cheese sails, and moves very, very well. So I guess we'll just go ahead and try a quick checkerboard, see how that looks. Yeah, it doesn't really resemble a checkerboard at all. It basically just looks scrambled, but that is what a checkerboard looks like. And then, as you can see on the white side, there was kind of a bit of a signature. It said Nathan Wilson #9, but that's kind of started to rub off a bit. I am actually getting another puzzle from Nathan that I'm super excited for at Worlds, and it's that really long, like, connected hexagonal prism thing, which just looks so cool, and I can't wait to make a video about it. But yeah, that's really about it for all of the puzzles in here. So big thanks to Tom once again for sending all of these puzzles, allowing me to buy all of them, and also to Kyler for selling me this puzzle. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this ridiculously long video. If you guys watched all the way through, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. These kinds of massive unboxings really are my favorite. I love them, and I haven't done one in a very long time. But anyways, that really just about does it for this unboxing. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.